Welcome to day 29 of 30 days toward creating a family ministry plan for your church. My name's Tommy, and once again, we're with Ron Hunter, who's the author of The DNA of D6. And just before we get started today, there's a quote from Ben Freudenberg, who's a professor at Concordia University. He's also the founder of Family Friendly Partners Network. And he just talked a little bit about your book when he said, this book shares how a united partnership and vision by a church, its congregation, and families can effectively disciple and keep the next generation in Christ. This is a must-read for the sake of the next generation. So just as we get started, we're in the middle of talking about how. And so today, though, if a pastor, say, has been reading your book, or maybe a ministry leader's been watching these segments, these coaching sessions, what's the next step in discovering how to implement it? What do they do if they've read the book or they've watched this? What's their next step?
If pastors and leaders, volunteers have hung in this long with us, they know this is a significant change. We have gone from chapter 1 over 168, where the church is doing everything, to realizing the power of those parents who are the ministry multipliers. Getting the ministry multipliers on board is not going to be easy. It's a significant change. So I would say to you as a leader, hit pause right now and recognize that significant change is a process, not an event. We are trying to change every generation, not just the next generation. And therefore, every generation is going to have to be involved in this process. So we need to engage every single generation, every single leader that we have in the church, so that they can come together and we get them at the table, we give them a book, and we ask them to read one chapter a month. It's a slow process. Let them mull it over. Let them crock-pot it. Let them begin to spot in the church. They're like, hey, that would work over there. That would work here. This would work in my family. This would work with my children or my grandchildren. Here's what I need to expect from our leadership team, our teachers. And they begin to get it. They'll begin talking to other people in the church. Do you see the cascading effect that happens? That's how we engage, change, and we don't just announce, we're going to change. We let people buy in. They collaborate by engaging how they think and ultimately engaging how we want them to behave. That's how change happens.
It's good, and it's so practical. What he's saying is so very practical. So our word today is engage, meaning that we want to engage every leader, and that doesn't mean from one generation. It means leaders from every single generation, right? Because this isn't about the next, it's about every generation. And so maybe the perfect thing to do is to buy the DNA of D6 and to supply it, to make a list. Who are these leaders in my church? Who are the influencers in my church? And to buy a copy for them and to say, we're going to take a year. It's going to take a little time, but if it didn't happen very quickly for you, if this realization of the importance of family ministry didn't happen overnight for you, it won't for them. And so maybe the perfect thing to do is to go to d6family.com/DNA and buy books for your team, for your volunteers, so that they can begin seeing the same things that you see in the importance of family ministry. We can't wait to see you again tomorrow for day 30 of 30. We're so excited about this process and about what God's going to do in your church as well as in your families that are represented in your church.